Hey guys, it's taken me 3 years to film this video. I don't know why it's taken me that long. I think partially because I realized that this is a video that is going to mean a lot to me and maybe a lot to you, lots of people watching, but I wanted to say everything right, you know. I'm gonna try not to make this video too long. I do want to get straight to the point, but I do want to share with you guys my testimony on how my life flipped upside down in the best way possible. It was a crazy shift in my life that brought me from here to here, and I think, you know, for those people that have seen me since maybe I was 15 years old, 18 years old, 21. It's been a long time, but I am a lot different. And I want to explain to you why that is, how that is even possible, and how I am this girl today. So let's do this. If you watch me a lot, then I probably sound like a broken record when I say that I have been on social media since I was 15 years old. I started mainly because my parents dragged me to Arizona when I was 13 and I had no friends. School was really, really tough for me. It never stopped being tough for me, so that's why I stayed on social media. I ended up becoming a pretty well-known-ish catfish that people would use and make a profile out of my pictures and say that they are me. So I think that that's probably where I got the most followage from, that people started to follow me and they were like, oh, this is the real girl. I think that that's how that started. If you're asking what did I do, I basically just took selfies. That was my profession. I wasn't getting paid for it at all till I was like 21 years old. I always just did it because I loved it, but I just took pictures of myself in the mirror. Pretty vain, but something that, you know, the whole world does now. But I was doing it since I was a little kid and I loved it. I loved sharing. I loved, you know, getting likes. I think that we all enjoy that. But I just saw my followers going up and my likes going up, and I just kind of, you know, rode that high, and I got joy from that. And I also think I got extra joy from that because I just felt so unhappy where I was living and going to school every day. I was just like, I couldn't wait to get home and be with my followers online. I had hit about, I think it was 500,000 followers, and I was at 1 million followers on what we now know today as TikTok, was Musical.ly. I was doing lip syncing videos. Around that time, I met somebody and I got in a relationship with somebody that most of you guys know about. We made a lot of couple videos, a lot of awesome, hilarious, crazy videos that I still, you know, look back on, and it was probably the happiest time in my life. You know, I had met somebody that did the same thing as me and had the same passions as me, and we just had a blast. He also taught me how to do YouTube. I didn't know much about YouTube or editing or anything, so I thank him so much for that. A lot of you guys enjoyed our videos as well, and some of them got crazy amount of views and just took off. We also shot a music video that a lot of you guys know about called We Do It Best, and it was just a blast. It was also a time when YouTube was just like YouTube, and now it's so, I don't know, it's different. It's definitely different, and I'm glad that I was a part of YouTube when YouTube was YouTube. But my Instagram followers started to go up at that time, like a crazy amount, and at one point I was getting hundreds of thousands of likes on an Instagram photo, and I didn't know what that was like, you know. Before I ever started YouTube, I was like 20,000 likes was a crazy amount. So I was just riding this high, you know, which was great, but it really wasn't what it was all about. But after things started to slow down and I went through a very public breakup, that became something that I had circled my joy around. Every day became, how am I going to get the most views? How am I going to get the most likes? And I think that's because I didn't have much going on in my life and I had just put all my eggs in one basket, and I was like, okay, well, this is bringing me joy. This is going to be my main source of joy, is likes. And I feel like that was always there, but it was kind of just really in the background of my life. It was just kind of an additive to how happy I already was in my life. But it became everything, and slowly it hit a peak of, it came to a point where I just couldn't get any more high. You know, social media, likes, views, like, it's such a drug, and you realize that if you've been through it, you know, it's a really great high, and it has a really, really bad come down that can happen when everybody thinks that you're still riding this high. It just kind of wears off. So if there's any point in time that you're doing it for the wrong reasons, you know, you're rocking the boat. So around this time when everything was slowing down, I finally had time to like scroll on social social media, and I started comparing myself to other Instagram girls and what they looked like and how many likes they were getting. And I don't know if it was a jealousy thing or if it was just like a riding a high thing, but jealousy and fame became a really large factor that played in probably my most regretful time of my life. I had always taken risque stuff. I mean, I was in car launches with my chest out. I was definitely living or portraying myself in crop tops and bikinis for sure, but not always. I mean, that wasn't my intention. I think that just, for a certain video, what sells, what's gonna get views. I think we all know that. But before I knew it, when I was trying to get more likes and more followers, that became, the easy way. I was like, let me start taking some more bikini photos. That'll get me more likes. And then at that point, I was getting like 350,000, 400,000 likes. And I'm sure you've heard this over and over from other influencers, but I can tell you, it may seem like the world, but it really isn't. And I gave up everything that people think is everything. I got it, and I can tell you it's not everything. And that's coming from somebody who did it for most of their life. And I think this hit me really hard because I had chased it for so long in my life, and I just thought the top of this mountain was gonna look a lot different when I got to the top. And I worked at it, I spent every hour of every day working at this, looking and checking my follower account all the time to see how many followers I went up. And like I said, there was passion behind that, so that does make a very large difference, but it was something that I chased, thinking that it was gonna bring me happiness. And like I said, I didn't start to make money or see money with social media until I was 20, 21 years old. I didn't even know that you could make money on social media when I started all those years. I had just simply had my focus on growing and sharing. When I hit the peak of how many likes I thought I needed to make me happy, when I hit that, I realized that no amount of likes was gonna bring me what I was looking for. I still wasn't happy, and I had turned to alcohol. I realized that I very much loved alcohol, and I was 22 at the time, and I never really drank before then. I was always just focused on social media, but when I realized that social media wasn't gonna fill me, kind of just, I was just looking everywhere for joy. And I was always a very shy person. I didn't really talk to many people, and I found out through alcohol that I was way more social, and I was finally able to make friends. Not real friends, for sure. You won't really make too many real friends at the bar. But for the first time ever, I was chatty, and I was comfortable, and I was more lively around people in a social setting. So that was a new high that I was chasing, and I chased that for about a year. And YouTube, that whole year was kind of just a blur. Social media in general was just kind of a blur that year. When the bar scene slowed down, my focus was back on social media, and I realized that I did not have nearly the amount of money that I felt I should have been at that point, because I had just reached a pretty high degree in social media of followers and likes, where I just never had my focus on money. So it wasn't something that I was striving for or chasing, and suddenly it became something that I really was craving and thought would bring me joy. Shortly after that, I had somebody recommend that I try Patreon. Patreon's something very similar to OnlyFans. Watch my video, Dear OnlyFans, and you probably already know a little bit about this and how it was definitely a giant impact on my shift in life. I did it for about 3 months, and I can tell you that it is not the easy way. A lot of shame came with that. Sharing that kind of content for any type of money truly is not worth it. It's not worth the shame. It's not worth how people view you. It's not worth the regret. And you know what? That might not match somebody else's outlook on that. I know that we live in a time right now that shame, the word shame doesn't really exist. But for me, it most certainly did. I'm thankful that I had shame. I'm thankful that there was something that told me, hey, something feels so wrong about this. So then I was now on another quest where I was just trying to get rid of the shame and cover up a decision I made that I couldn't take back. And I looked in all the wrong places to cover that shame. I then created more regrets. I made a lot of bad decisions in such a short amount of time. And in a moment where I had made a really bad mistake, there was something called a flap Basically, I think you would just call it a pamphlet, but it was about Jesus, and I wish I still had it because it was my turning point. I remember grabbing it and shoving it in my bag. I went home and I opened it, and there was just something about it. And I didn't know anything about Jesus, and I knew that there was definitely being in social media, reaching such a pinnacle of things, you know, I saw some stuff that, you know, verified to me that there is definitely a good versus evil thing going on. I think that, you know, you're playing blind if you don't see that. For me, I think it takes more faith to believe in nothing. I don't know. For me, I always knew there was something, I just didn't know what it was. I never believed that it was just black when we die. And it took me hitting rock bottom to search for there to be something, because we just feel like we have everything together and everything figured out when everything is going great in our lives. And that's why I'm so thankful that I hit rock bottom. And that's why I said in my song Born Again, I said I had to sink all the way to the bottom just to drown in the holy water. And that line means so much to me, because I am so thankful for the shame that I felt that led me to search. When I was at the lowest point of my life, when I heard the name Jesus, it did something in me. It lit something up in me that was unexplainable and undeniable. And I just wanted to look into it more. And for the first time ever, I had peace that I didn't know existed, and it was a peace I really needed at that time in my life. And I searched everything else, and nothing even came close to the peace I felt when I found out about Jesus and when I heard the gospel for the first time, and that Jesus took the cross for the weight of our sins and the sins of the world. And you know, that sounds crazy to some people, and I think that if I didn't hit rock bottom, that would have sounded really crazy, and I wouldn't have taken that step in faith to see if this was legit. And there might be so many people watching that are saying, you know, you still don't know if that's legit. I'm telling you, 3 years walking in faith, there has been too much evidence in my own life that I have seen, and there's been so much evidence in everybody's life that gives their life to Jesus. And for me, I always believed that good people go to heaven and bad people go to hell, and I was a good person. And for the first time ever, I got to a point where I wondered, you know, am I that good of a person? I felt the weight of mistakes that I made and shame that I just couldn't carry by myself. I searched the whole world. I received so many things that so many people are chasing, that they think, once I get this, I'm gonna be happy. And I can tell you, I have found all of those things in Jesus. I don't need a jewel, I don't need alcohol, I don't need weed, I don't need fake friends, I don't need followers, views, I don't need a relationship for the first time in my life to feel like I am complete. I think the biggest evidence that you could have for what Jesus did on the cross and what happens when you believe in him is what he does in us, and publicly what he's done through me. On top of the evidence, if you're a fact person, it is undeniable. And it takes pushing your pride aside, which is unhuman of us, but it's worth it in every way possible. He flips your world upside down. And it's not easy. These last 3 years have been the hardest 3 years of my life in the best way possible. It has been a walk, not a run, and that's why I'm creating this podcast called The Bible Breakfast, and it's to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus. Because the more you grow in your relationship with Jesus, the more your life grows, and the more you grow, and the more you see this world for what it is, passing away. If this video encouraged you in any way, and you're wondering, man, is this Jesus stuff real? If that girl did it, it is real. And if you want to accept Jesus in your life, literally all you have to do, God couldn't have made it easier, is believe in the one he sent and say, God, please forgive me for my sins. I believe in the one you sent, and I want to have a relationship with Jesus. And he'll take it from there. I did it in my Jeep 3 years ago. I said it out loud, and my world flipped upside down. Not only am I 1,000,000% positive that I know where I'm going when I close my eyes, but I also have a peace that is without understanding. In times I should not have peace, and things that didn't make sense before definitely make sense now. Thank you so much if you watched this entire video. I will do my best to respond to as many comments as I can below, and I will see you guys November 1st for my first podcast that will be on YouTube as well as every podcast platform. And my only goal with it is to help you grow in your relationship with Jesus. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See ya.